So I've been getting into those scary stories recently, and I wanted to narrate some of them, but God knows I'm not going to ask anyone on Reddit. So I asked AI to generate me some, and I even found a prompt on a website for horror stories, and I liked one of them, so let's see how these turn out. Let's see if AI can actually make a good horror story. The last broadcast. It was just past midnight when Alex, the overnight radio host for Wizard 103.3, noticed the static. He leaned forward, tapping the worn on-air button. Apologies, folks. Seems we've got a little interference tonight. Stay with me. It wasn't uncommon for the station's signal to hiccup. The old building sat on the edge of town, surrounded by miles of pine forest and silence. Budget cuts meant Alex was often alone, his only companions the dusty equipment and the distant hoot of owls through the cracked window. Then the voice came through. Not his voice. Not any voice he recognized. It was faint, rasping, distorted, but definitely human. It whispered something unintelligible, then giggled. Alex froze. He played a track to buy himself time, and turned every knob and dial he could find. Maybe someone was pirating the signal. Maybe it was a prank. But the feed was clean. There was no other active channels. Then the whisper returned, clearer this time. Alex's breath caught. He spun in his chair. Nothing. Just the empty studio. The lights flickered slightly. He laughed nervously. "All right," he said, on air. "I think we've got ourselves a prankster. Nice try." Turn around. The voice didn't come from the speakers this time. It came from behind him. Alex turned again. The studio was still empty, but something had changed. The window that looked into the hallway, previously reflecting only his equipment, was now black. Not dark, black, as if it no longer showed anything at all. Then something moved inside the glass. It wasn't a reflection, it was a shape. Tall, pale, watching him. He stepped closer. The blackness pulsed. His breath fogged the window, though the studio wasn't cold. The voice now came from every speaker in the room. Alex stumbled back and hit the console, cutting the feed. Silence. Total silence. The kind that felt wrong. Not empty, but full of something waiting. Then the phone rang. Line 1, the studio line. It hadn't rung in months. Hands trembling, he picked up. There was breathing. Then softly, "You're already in." The lights died. The door locked with a heavy click. From the darkness behind him, a second breath joined his own. When Claire inherited the house on Stillwater Lane, she almost didn't take it. Her great-aunt Edna had lived there alone for over 40 years and was something of a mystery. No husband, no children, and no visitors. Still, free property was free property, and after a painful breakup, Claire welcomed the change of scenery. The house was old but charming, with creaking floorboards, antique furniture, and the faint scent of lavender that lingered in every room. But there was one rule in the will, handwritten in shaky script. Do not open the attic door after dark, ever. Claire assumed it was a joke, or perhaps the fading mind of an elderly woman. The attic door was at the top of the stairs and was padlocked. She barely thought about it for the first few nights. But then things started happening. First it was the knocking. Every night at exactly 3:03 a.m., soft knocks echoed from the attic. 3 knocks, then silence. Claire tried to rationalize it. The house was settling, old wood and wind. But it was always 3 knocks, always at the same time. Then came the footsteps. She would lie in bed and hear them. Slow, deliberate steps pacing back and forth directly above her. The attic, of course. But the only entrance was still locked. She checked every morning. One night, unable to sleep, she finally called a locksmith. "This door's seen a lot," the man muttered, examining the lock. "Are you sure you want it open?" Claire hesitated. The rule echoed in her mind. Do not open the attic door after dark. She glanced out the window. It was only 6:45. The sun hadn't quite set. Just do it, she said. The lock snapped with a final click. The attic stairs were narrow and steep. As she climbed, the air grew colder. Not musty, cold. Claire pulled her sweater tighter. She reached the top. Flashlight in hand, the beam cut through the dark, revealing nothing but dust-covered furniture, old trunks, and a mirror. It stood alone, leaning against the far wall. Unlike anything else, it was pristine. No dust, no cracks. It looked new. She stepped closer. Her reflection stared back at her, but something was wrong. The mirror Claire was smiling. She wasn't. Claire blinked, and her reflection blinked a bit late. She tried to run, but the attic door slammed shut. Locked. She pounded and screamed, but the house swallowed her cries. When the police arrived the next morning, alerted by a neighbor who hadn't seen her for a few days, they found the attic empty. No Claire, just a mirror, and in it, her reflection still stood, smiling, waiting. The Collins family never gave up hope. When Max, their loyal golden retriever, ran off into the woods one stormy night, they searched for weeks. Flyers, shelters, late-night calls, nothing. He was gone. But a year later, almost to the day, Max came back. He showed up at their back door just after sunset, tail wagging, fur matted with dirt and brambles. 7-year-old Lily was the first to see him. Her shriek of joy brought the rest of the family running. "Max," she cried, throwing her arms around him. "You came back." Even covered in grime, he was unmistakable. Same collar, same soulful brown eyes, same scar above his paw from when he got too curious with a rosebush. Tears streamed down Miss Collins' cheeks as she hugged him. Mr. Collins, silent and skeptical by nature, even cracked a rare smile. But the first night back, Max didn't sleep. He sat in the hallway outside Lily's room, staring at her door. No barking, no whimpering, just stillness. When Mr. Collins tried to coax him into his old bed, Max growled. Low and unfamiliar. They chalked it up to trauma. He'd been in the wild after all. Who knew what he had been through? By the third night, things got stranger. Max no longer ate dog food. He sniffed it, recoiled, and walked away. Yet he seemed healthy. His coat was shinier than it had ever been. His teeth, too white, too perfect. And he never blinked, not once. Lily swore she saw him standing on 2 legs in the hallway. Like a person, she said sleepily one morning. Her parents laughed it off. But then she added, he talks to me at night, when the lights are off. Miss Collins' stomach dropped. What do you mean, sweetie? He says I don't have to be scared of the dark anymore. He said it's his turn to be scared of me. The next night, they locked Max in the laundry room. By morning, the door was gone. Not broken, gone. Just smooth drywall where it had been. That's when they finally checked the security footage. At exactly 3:33 a.m., Max had stood on his hind legs, stretching taller and taller until his head scraped the ceiling. His limbs elongated, fur peeled away in wet strips, and 2 black pits stared out from where his eyes had been. And then he smiled, something no dog should be able to do. The last image on the footage was Max pressing his clawed hand against the camera lens. Inside the smudge, they saw a single word traced in blood. Mine. The Collinses fled that night, leaving everything behind. But sometimes the neighbors swear they still hear scratching at the old house on Widmer Street. A low growl, a whine that turns into a chuckle. And sometimes it answers when you call its name. So, I'm gonna be honest, these stories kind of suck. Like, the prompts are good, the idea's there, and, they're building up to something, but you just get blue-balled at the end. Like, in the first one, it doesn't even make sense. It keeps saying turn around like it's behind him. It says it's in the room behind him. And then it says let us in after that. Like, it's already in. And then when he picks up the phone, it says you're already in. Like, what is it talking about? The second one makes a little bit more sense, but like, where did the locksmith go? He was there. And then she went up there and died, And at the end it says the police arrived the next morning, but they were alerted by a neighbor who hadn't seen her for days. Like, did the neighbor not see her for days before she died? Or, like, that just doesn't make sense. And the last one was actually my favorite prompt. I found that on a website that was, prompts for horror stories. And I think it's a really cool prompt, but it just fizzles out at the end. Like, the dog says it's his turn to be scared of the kid. It doesn't make sense. And, like, what does the mine mean? Like, it sounds like the dog is trying to kill the kid, but the dog says it's his turn to be scared. I don't know. They could have been so good. Like, there was a build-up, like, the build-up was fine. But it's just the ending to all the stories were nothing. So AI kind of sucks at writing horror stories, but there's also a lot of problems with it too.
AI can unknowingly and accidentally generate and formulate ideas which are straight up just another person's words and thoughts, and it won't generate a citation alongside that because of course not.
So I would recommend watching this video by Schleim9K and this video by Evan Edinger. They kind of go into how to spot AI writing, and Schleim kind of goes into why AI fucking sucks. And it's kind of funny after watching these videos, seeing the scripts, because you can see a lot of the same patterns. Like, in the videos, they talk about how a lot of the time it goes, it's not just X, it's Y. But in the scripts, it's a little bit different. Sometimes it's X, not Y, but X. And sometimes it just doesn't even make sense. Like in the second story, when she goes up in the attic, it says the air grew colder, not musty, cold. It's like, that's not what I would have thought of. As soon as you said the air is cold, I wouldn't have thought musty. But every single story had that same phrase. It's X, not Y, but X. Either way, it was a fun video to make. I hope you guys enjoyed it, even though the stories kind of sucked. If you have any good stories, please send them to me. At least we can, have some good stories for the next one. I went to investigate the noise and saw my treadmill was running. It didn't make sense because my treadmill... Fuck